Hello everybody, Bandy Wolf down here. We are playing some Diablo 2 Resurrected. We're doing something somewhat different tonight. As far as, specific Diablo 2 content. We are going to be thinking about the terrorized zones. Gonna wait and let some more viewers trickle in as we until we start going really into detail. Okay. So, like I said, we are going to try to bring up some discussion about the terror zones. If you don't know, terror zones are a way that kind of pushes the end game a little bit further. Prior to that, once you got to hell difficulty and you beat the game, there wasn't a whole lot to do after that point besides just grind Diablo, Mephisto, and Baal, I think. Over and 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 over again. Okay. The downside with that is that besides those three specific bosses, I'm gonna get rid of some of these charms at least, man, we want those. Shape shifting. The problem with that is that besides those 3 monsters specifically, pretty much everything else was so low level that it didn't give you good experience at all. And you kind of just had to do that over and over again from like, I don't know, 80s to max level. So the grind was even more of an issue. With Diablo 2 Resurrected, they introduced something called Terror Zones, where not only did it extend the in-game, but it also made it worthwhile to go back to some of these specific areas. What it would do, you can see in the top right that right now the terrorized zone, every hour, one specific zone is picked that is quote-unquote terrorized, which then brings the level of the monsters up to a certain level, generally around your character's level. So right now I'm level 96. I don't know exactly the numbers for it, but basically it's either your level plus some, depending on if it's an elite or a champion or a unique or a super unique, so that you could get experience from it and get better loot. Besides the experience point bonus, there's of course they're stronger, the monsters are stronger, but it also gives you, I think, more magic find and more gold find. So it's just better. Not only did it let you get nice cloud crack. Oh, that would have been so good for my defensive or his paladin. That's so cool. Cool. So not only did it let you actually get meaningful experience from fighting things other than the one boss monster, it also kind of expanded it to make it there be more variety to what you could farm. And it kind of made you pay attention to like when. It's not a huge deal, but when I play, it does kind of add like a MMO or like persistent world effect to it, where I'll like watch the Terror Zone schedule and try to jump on when my favorites come on. And that kind of leads me to what I was talking about. The point of this stream is a discussion about Terror Zones, specifically for hardcore characters. If you go online, you can find like walkthroughs or guides about the best Terror Zones, but they are specifically targeted to softcore, which they basically don't account for any of the what's the word I'm looking for? Like, they don't care if you live or die. Like, all of it's focused on efficiency and doing as much damage as possible. And everything about living or dying is just player skill, as far as just not running in and dying. And if you do die, oh well. You just go get your body, lose a little bit of XP, a little bit of gold. No harm, nor foul. But you can't do that in hardcore. You get one. You get one life. Superior Spirit Mask. Interesting. Oh wait, I do want to keep that. Something also that I'm doing, since these mobs aren't really that dangerous, is just farming for gold items and gold in general to gamble. I want to gamble for Stony Jordans and other things. And we can do things like that. Get Saurus' Iron Heel. I think I have those, but I'll keep them. Yeah, and so one of my projects that I want to do for this is kind of get some content going for, specifically for hardcore. if you've been watching my streams or my channel at all, catching the VODs, you'll see that I am trying to get to max level with a hardcore character, which is extremely difficult. This is probably I have no clue, depending on when you start counting, maybe the 5th character that I've tried and failed to get to max level. If you're counting, getting past 80, it's probably the 5th. If you're counting past anything before that, I'd probably add like double. Because I did kind of start playing this game cold. I had played it before, and I did have a little bit of knowledge about it. I'd never beaten the game on hell myself. But like some 2-3 odd years ago, I picked it up, started playing hardcore, and I think I finally beat hell on hardcore like 2 years ago with an assassin, which was very, very difficult the first time, learning the ins and outs of what you can do, your limits, the specific skills that you would have to do to not die, what's dangerous, all that kind of stuff. After you beat it the one time, it gets easier. You know what you're doing. So after that first assassin that I was able to beat, I think I ran through with a necromancer, was able to beat it with them. Then I went through with a summoner druid and maybe another character, and then finally settled on this one. The farthest I've got is with my summoner druid. The assassin I think I got to 89. The necro I think I got to 89. The summoner was 96, and then the this is 96 as well. So technically, I can't remember what experience point I was at, but I've at least surpassed the previous point, and I'm working on getting farther past it. So, shoot. So if you're just now joining me, thanks for checking out the stream. We are talking about terror zones, or we plan to. We haven't really started into the meat of it. I kind of wanted to wait till I got some more traffic trickling in before I started into the actual, what I was wanting to go over. But basically, if you... Oh, wait, I want to sell this. If you notice on the internet, there's not a whole lot of guides for hardcore specific. They don't really care if you live or die because death is forgivable. You just lose some Stony Tombs is good. Hey, Holy Man 2122, how are you? Thank you for contributing in chat. Yeah, I like Stony Tombs. Specifically, there seems to be a lot of shrines there, so you can get an experience shrine quite easily. But what we were planning on doing as far as the terror zones tonight is I was going to go over each one specifically for Act 1 in order. So let me bring up my little chart here. So, first one is going to be Bloodmoor in the Den of Evil. It is the first act of the game, so I think it needs to be said. The first thing you should consider is it's probably the one that's going to give you the least experience overall. Maybe not experience per level, or per second, I guess. Because, as it being the first area of the game, it is going to be quite easy. Both in, monster level, the damage they can put out, their specifics to their, classes or whatever, or their types. You don't have very many scary stuff. Sorry about that. Had to bring up my... with this terror zone, the only monsters that can spawn in this terror zone are fallen... the fallen guys, can't remember what they're called, not the shamans, but the other ones, the fallen fodder, Those are the only things that can spawn quill rats and zombies. And Fallen, I don't think they could ever kill you. No matter what difficulty you're on or hardcore, it's just they're not that difficult to deal with. They don't hit hard. They don't have a lot of health. And especially whenever you kill anything around them, they run away in fear. So not really difficult to deal with the Fallen. Zombies are probably next. They hit relatively sufficiently. They can hit you and hurt you. But very slow. You can run away. Very slow to move. Very slow to react. Finally, the quill rats. Probably the only thing that you really need to be wary of. Because they have a ranged attack. And even then, they don't move very fast. So, monster types, those are the 3 types in Bloodmoor. Den of Evil adds the Fallen Shaman. And it adds the Wendigo to replace the Quill Rat. Now, the Fallen Shaman sort of add a difficulty. Not really. They are a respawner, so that adds an annoyance to it. I don't like respawns as hardcore because it forces you to like move out of position, or if you have cold damage, that helps too. But unless you do, you have to move out of position to kill the Reser, the Shaman, the whatever it is. So they add a little bit. Now again, with Fallen in general, they're very weak. You just run them over. They can't do anything. Not very difficult. And then the Wendigos, they hit hard as well. About comparable to a zombie, but they are faster and quicker to react. But overall, as far as enemy types go, pretty easy. I think I have Sibber's Cudgel too. So yeah, enemy types, kind of a plus to it. When you're running terrorized, you don't have to think too much about what you're doing. If you're having trouble, you just run away. Kind of keep distance, that type of thing. So that's the first thing. Any thoughts on enemy types? Do we have any contributions from our chat as far as that? Or anything specifically comes to your mind when you think of Bloodmoor Terrorized Zone? Oh, wait, I actually want that. Where is that coming from? Oh, wait, it's probably a Flavy. Yeah, and if you see, like, I mean, I am, like, way over level for this anyway. Unfortunately, I would have liked to have the zones themselves be terrorized, but if I did that, I'd have to change my streaming schedule around. I'd have to hope that they go into a slot where I'm streaming at 9 or 10 or so. So, yeah, but regardless, they're not very difficult. Like, even if this wasn't, my playstyle wouldn't change too much. I'd still be just running straight at them, ripping them to shreds. The elites and the unique packs, you definitely have to pay attention to, and their spacing as well. But other than that, enemy types aren't too bad. All right. The other thing that I want to address with the Blood Moor and the Den of Evil, you can typically, depending on how your maps spawn, the last couple times that I've ran the Terror Zone is I've liked to teleport into Cold Plains and see if there's a shrine nearby, which with this one there's not one. Both with Cold Plains and the Blood Moor and Den of Evil, shrines, there's typically 2 or 3 or more when you spawn in. So what I was doing the last time, ignoring this pack, there's a gem shrine. So I would ignore the elite pack because this is a dead end and check that shrine and this one. Yeah, and see, experience shrine. So now I can go and take these out, get a little bit of extra experience. Hopefully I don't get a curse pack because it'll remove it, but yeah, so I would teleport into the cold plane, or I could run straight out of the gate depending on where my shrines spawned. And in this case, it was seemed faster to me to go from cold plains. So it's accessible, and the shrines themselves that spawn, you can get 2 or 3 that spawn, and then you can get like experience is the best one you want to get as much experience as you can. And yep, so we actually got a good one. So go over here, kill this pack. That one's cursed, so probably take this guy out first. Try to get as much as possible before I get cursed. There we go. And I think there's one more shrine I can check. So even if I get cursed in this dead end over here, I might be able to grab another experience shrine. But for me, on hardcore, it's always beneficial to go for safety over speed. We do not want to die, so if at any point we feel threatened or we run into something that our build can't handle, does too much damage, kills our merc, if we get bad vibes, we get the heck out of there. But since this isn't terrorized currently, the monster level is very low, and we're not in any danger. Dang, we didn't get it. Hey, if you're just now joining, we are just talking terror zones. Right now we're talking about the Bloodmoor / Den of Evil. Specifically for a hardcore character and how well it works, you know, where it ranks up to terror zones in general. So, again, it's for a hardcore character, so something that is different is usually if it's dangerous in any way, kind of brings it down as far as viability for me or interest in doing it. So that in that case, typically the farther along in the game you get, the less and less that, at least for me, that I want to run it. And I'd be curious to see what other people, specifically other hardcore players, how they chime into that debate. But yeah, we're going to be running Bloodmoor. We probably won't run it for a complete hour because we're really not getting a ton of value out of it as far as experience. But gold, I got rid of some charms that I usually carry just to work on some gold. I always have a problem with gold because of the gear that I have. It takes so much to repair the gear. And so we had another shrine there, nothing good. There isn't too much as far as loot. There's not a lot of poppables, chests, maybe some rogue corpses, rocks that you can overturn, hidden caches. You're definitely not going to go into Bloodmoor for the loot possibilities, although I have gotten really good luck with Bloodmoor, I would say the past week or so. I got Jalal's Mane off of Fallen in Bloodmoor. So it's not impossible. Because of the Terror Zone bringing up the level, it does open up some interesting possibilities for loot that you can get. Nothing crazy, but it is possible. Alright. Let's sell our junk here. And then we'll touch on the next part that I was wanting to go over with about Terror Zones in general and what I think about. Okay, so let's do our thing. Hit the cold plains. Summon our crap. So, pretty much later in your grinding career, I guess, eventually, and I think for hardcore characters it starts later, is you start to basically ignore regular mobs that aren't uniques. Like this is a good unique pack, or unique pack. They give maybe, it's different for every different type of monster, but they give typically maybe 2 to 4 times the experience that you would get from a regular mob. Now, unless it's a mob that spawns like a ton of them, you're going to be focused on elites. Now, early on when you're playing hardcore, or at least for me, I would just kill everything. Because of how, vulnerable you are, it's better just to kill everything so that you have a clear way to retreat and you don't get collapsed on and stuck. But eventually, you're going to be so powerful, and the XP that you can get is going to be so minuscule unless it's a champion pack, an elite pack, or a champion pack, a unique. I call them elites. But a champion, a unique, or a super unique pack. So, how many can you get per zone? Well, it's a handful for most zones. Between maybe 3 and 9 that randomly will spawn, depending on the zone. And each zone has a set number that it will spawn. So that's what I was going to talk about next, is specifically for Bloodmoor and Den of Evil. They will spawn between 7 and 9 in Hell difficulty, and that's what I'm going to focus on. It's different for normal mode and Nightmare, but generally you won't have issues finding a place to grind for gear and experience prior to getting to Hell. So, for Hell difficulty, there's going to be between 7 and 9. And that's important because then you can kind of compare as you're running through. I haven't been counting this run, but I would say maybe 4 or 5 as I've hit. And even if I haven't been counting, about 4 or 5, I have about half of the zone left. So I can just ignore these and look for that elite or champion pack. Unique pack. So we just ignore all this. Check out that shrine if it's a gem. That's not. Nothing here. Nothing here. Nothing. And I may have miscounted. I may have been not paying attention. Which I think that is the case. Yeah, probably. Alright, so we've covered it all. We got all the elites. Something I haven't talked about is Den of Evil. And the Den of Evil portion of this is not worth going into in the slightest. Unless you just want to cover everything. But it is very not efficient to go in here. Because the Den of Evil will not spawn any uniques or champions. It's all basic monsters. Except for Corpse Fire, who's a super unique. Super uniques and bosses, things like that, are guaranteed to spawn in specific places. Corpse Fire is one of them. At the end of the Den of Evil, we will find him. And they do give good experience. And they are very useful because of their reliability. You know that they're going to spawn there. And in any other Terror Zone, it would be very useful to kind of work around Corpse Fire. Or work around the super unique that we have here. Because we know he's going to be there. And in some places, including my all-time favorite place to spawn, the fact that you know he's going to be there means you can run straight to him, kill him, get guaranteed experience, and then save and exit and restart and do it again. If you know where he's going to be, he is outside sort of the counting of the number of elites and champion packs and things. So if you've already reached the limit to where it's not going to spawn anymore, the fact that he's definitely there means you get an extra one. If you haven't spawned the extra, he still counts. So, you know, if we were going to get 7 and we got to him first, he would be this. It would go down to 6. But yeah, that's makes it a really good place to grind, is around the super uniques in each Terror Zone. Fortunately, Bloodmoor only has Corpse Fire, which means you have to run through the entirety of the Den of Evil to get to him. There's no spawns on the way, so it's terribly inefficient. And he doesn't even give you good stuff. Not good stuff at all. Get our gems. Oh, and we want to sell that. That's why I picked it up. Okay, so next. We talked about the number of spawns. Talked about everything. So what do we think about Bloodmoor Den of Evil? Is there anything we didn't really talk about when you're thinking about whether it's a good TZ to hit? I honestly think that, for me, I've been playing it a long time, and that's kind of what I consider. How difficult it is, how many mobs you can get. You can get a lot of mobs. So, I think that was 2. The minions for each mobs do not count. I'm going to grab that Iron Shield. And diamond. The minions do not count towards the 7 and 9 that we would get in Bloodmoor. But if we run into champions, each individual champion would count. Champions typically don't give you as much experience either, individually. So usually the uniques are the better way to go. So that was 3, I think. Yeah, 3. So, yeah, as far as Bloodmoor Den of Evil, I do like it. It's not absolutely the best, but because it's so easy, because it's so, I mean, they just fall. There's 4, there's 5. It is a very good Terror Zone if you are a coward or not very strong. And in my opinion, I would rank it probably around A tier. Maybe B tier if you want to get really nitpicky or critical. Depending on what character you have, you can really blaze through this quite fast. Get your experience. Again, it's not going to be as much as Act 5, but it's also not going to kill you as fast. And, like, out of the blue. Probably the only way you're going to die is if you run into multiple elite packs that have really nasty affixes, like Curse is always awful. Or if you run into a specific quill wrap pack that has like Curse, Might, Aura, lower resistance, something like that. If you're very, very weak when you come into Hell, you want to be extra careful, but yeah, generally, you're not going to die. So that was 6, I think, 7. So since we hit about 7, we only have about, I don't know, 2/3 of the way of the map left. I'm actually going to run down here, because sometimes they spawn in this corner. No. So we're just going to save and exit. So yeah, what would we give the 50%, huh? It's in that poll. Looks like everybody's kind of expected Cathedral Catacombs. Expected that one to be good because Dariel's in there. What grade do you give? And let's go ahead and put the next one up. Cold Plains in the Cave. A, wait, S, A, B, or C. And that's going to be the next one we're doing. But as far as the one we're on, since we already went through it, we are going to, I would personally give it an A. I like Bloodmoor and the Den of Evil quite a bit because it's so safe. Safety is my top priority. If you die, you cannot get to max level. It's as simple as that. Any other input from the chat before we move on to the next Act 1 Terror Zone? Which will be the Cold Plains / the Cave. Alright, speak now, forever hold your peace. We have given Bloodmoor and Den of Evil A rank. Now, next up is Cold Plains and the Cave. It is the second zone in Act 1. So, in general, I like Cold Plains too. Jumping into it. It isn't too difficult. Again, that's what I'm thinking about. Is it hard to kill? Do the monsters take a lot? Do they do a lot? Are they scary? Are they not scary? The type of monsters you can get in Cold Plains map has expanded. Of course, you get the Fallen, and also Shamans will spawn here. Not very difficult at all, but they do have that resurrection mechanic, which can put you out of position and get you swarmed and killed. So take that. Now, it does add a couple different ones. Wendigos, of course. Those were in the Blood Den of Evil. I can't remember who that was. That might have been a point I was going to make. Bishy Bosh. Wendigos, again, hit hard. They move a little bit fast, not too bad. About the same danger level as zombies, maybe a bit. Ooh, that's a good one. What else? We also get these corrupt rogues in spear varieties and just regular varieties that have swords and whatnot. About the same to me. I think there is some variation in maybe damage or attack range, but they run fast. They hit relatively hard, enough to at least more than Fallen, for sure. And they usually travel in small to large packs. So I would say as far as danger level, it's not too bad as far as the types. While the spearwomen and the corrupt rogues are somewhat fast, you can still kite them quite a bit. They are melee. The only thing here that is not melee is the shamans, and they're going to be so focused on trying to resurrect their little fodder that for the most part their damage is going to be negligible as well. So honestly, it's a little bit safer than the Bloodmoor or the Den of Evil, somewhat, I would have to say. It is more likely that you're going to get swarmed, but if you're kiting backwards, and especially letting your, if you have summons, if you have your mercenary that can tank, you shouldn't be dying here. All right. As I mentioned with the Bloodmoor, there does seem to be a good bit of shrines, or enough shrines that you can count on there being there. And then you can also just re-roll the level, save and exit, go to a different difficulty, until you get like a really good map that you want. But don't really need to. It's just kind of a plus if you know where the shrines are in your map that spawn. Maybe draw a path through them. Try to hit the shrines. Try to hit the super uniques, because there are some in this terror zone. I think we hit Bishy Bosh over there. So here's another shrine. Yeah, a downside as compared to Bloodmoor is it's quite a bit bigger. Which Bloodmoor is very small. So that's actually a plus, because you don't have much to explore. You can blaze through it and grab those 7 or so uniques, champions, and then go from there. With Cold Plains, the map is very large, which spreads out where your uniques and your champions can spawn. So that's kind of a downside to it. Now, like Bloodmoor, there are 7 to 9 champions and uniques that can spawn. Plus, Bishy Bosh, which is a super unique guaranteed spawn for a Fallen Shaman. Again, those are not very difficult. They just kind of make it annoying. And he does spawn in a large group, but again, Fallen, unless you have multiple elite packs with scary affixes, you shouldn't die. But depending on your power level, I might avoid Bishy Bosh until you can kind of just raffle stomp them. But yeah, so it's quite large. 7 to 9 uniques. You want to kind of plan a path so you can hit ideally your shrines first, or at least a couple shrines first to check for experience shrines. Then hit a few, see if you can get a few elites going, and then hit Bishy Bosh last to kind of extend how many elites you're going to get. I don't want those. Now, I want to go check what this is. This is a buried ground, so no. Okay. So yeah, it doesn't look like we had a great option here as far as our spawn. Alright. So, next thing is the cave. Now, we did get a really good proximity to the spawn point. So, really something we could do is we could spawn in, run over to these two shrines. Bishibosh is right here. Run past him, check these two shrines, maybe do a sweeping motion to see if we can spot elite packs. And then grab an experience shrine if possible, kill the elite packs, kill Bishibosh, and then head back over here and go in the cave with our experience shrine. Cave is also pretty good because it actually has 2 levels. And there are 7 to 9 elites on the first level and 2 to 3 on the second level. For a total, for the Terror Zone, of you could get 16 to 21 champions, elites, and then you have your super uniques like Bishibosh, because there's also a super unique in this cave. It's Cold Crow, and she'll spawn in the first level. So, you know, depending on how lucky you get with your sweeping motion up top, you could get Bishibosh plus maybe 2 to 3 champions or uniques with an experience shrine. Then in here, maybe you get the 7, depending on how it spawns, because you do want to hit that second level. Or the opposite way is maybe Cold Crow is always going to spawn in the opposite direction. So let's just kind of explore here and see what we get. So just ignore. Okay, so there we got 3 champions. Nothing over here. So we don't want to go that way again. Where is Cold Crow? There's a shrine. Oh, here she is. Or no, this isn't Cold Crow. This is just an elite pack. So we're looking for our exit to... Maybe this is Cold Crow? Nope. We're looking for our exit to level 2 or Cold Crow. I doubt they're going to spawn in the same area, but maybe. Yeah, there we go. Cold Crow. So, as far as the caves, it is a little bit dangerous. These corrupted rain... Ooh, bassinet. What do we got here? Sazabi's Mental Sheath. I think I have that. It does get a little bit more dangerous. Those corrupted rogue archers can get really scary, especially if there is an elite pack. Yeah, and it spawned the way I was hoping it wouldn't, where Cold Crow is in one direction and the stairs would be in another. Might be a loop, though. Besides the corrupt rogues, which are somewhat dangerous, depending on what they spawn with, the only other mobs that spawn in here is zombies, which again, slow and hit hard, but very easy to kite. Oh, and skeletons, which one thing to note is you can't lifesteal off of those. So, like this build that I have, lifesteal is a good bit of my tankiness. It makes it a little difficult. So actually, that's not too bad. It is a huge distance. The second floor is very short. And it does spawn with Fallen as well. And I don't know if it spawns with Rogues. But the second floor is very compact. There are 2 to 3 mobs in there. Plus, I think, a chest. So you got a good chance of loot. I'll pick that up. There's our 2... We got 2 elites. Nothing. Nothing too crazy, and it looks like only 2 mobs. So, I'm going to save and quit. So, yeah. Quite a good tear zone. It's a little bit more expanded. There's a little bit much to it. So you do have to like get lucky with your spawns, but because it's bigger, it does have more opportunities to get elite mobs. So generally, it's maybe about the same as far as Bloodmoor. I typically place it a little bit lower just because it's a little bit more dangerous. It's a little bit more big. With Bloodmoor, you can spawn in, run in and out, minute or 2. So I usually put this location at a B. But depending on what you like, there's also personal preference. So that's my preference with that. These over here, we're going to sell those 2 things. All right. So, yeah, there it is. B. Cold Plains is a nice little safe area. It gets a little bit scary with the archers. Cold Crow has slow. She's got slow on her. So, again, it gets a little bit scary. I would even say that going to C with it is not unheard of because Cold Crow can get scary. Let's put our gold in there. And let us adjust our poll here. So, what do we think of Burial Grounds, the Crypt, and the Mausoleum? Does anybody have any thoughts about that? How do we rate... We got S, we got A, we got B, we got C. Let's start that poll. Now, again, if you're just joining me, I am playing Diablo 2 Resurrected. I am discussing how well the terrorized zones are to a hardcore character and trying to get as much XP as possible. I do take into consideration the loot opportunities, you know, what you can get loot-wise, but with the terrorized zones being what they are, you can get some good loot off a lot of them. It's kind of like a salt in the wound type thing. Extra. My biggest thing is XP. Are we still live? Are we still? Can you still see me? We got some more votes in here. C. We're voting C for the Burial Grounds and the Crypt. So I don't know. You might have been looking at my notes here. Hold on. think we're going to do something different with how we're looking at notes. I think I can pull this up on my phone. Boom. Projects, game specific, Diablo 2, Terror Zone tier list. There we go. That's a little bit better. And that way I won't have to keep irritating people that are coming in and out. Gavin McCulloch. Haven't played yet. Can't vote, you know. Well, I'm going to give you some info about it. And then what do you think based off the information I've given? Have you played Diablo 2 Resurrected at all? It's a great game. Super good. If you like ARPGs like the modern Diablos, Path of Exile, Last Epoch, stuff like that, I'm not clouded by nostalgia glasses for this. I didn't play it. I played it a little bit when I was a teenager, but did not beat normal, I don't think. Yes. Yeah, so you have played. So give it a try. Definitely give it a try. But I do have notes for them. So just a reminder for never played hardcore, just solo offline softcore. So just a reminder, terrorized zones kind of expand the end game for the different difficulties. They basically bring the monster levels up to you, and then some of the champion spawns, the elites basically that have affixes, it makes them a little bit tougher. So you get experience, you get golden loot up to your level. It lets you extend the difficulty, that type of thing, to a certain degree. So you do have to keep moving from normal to nightmare onwards. So now for softcore, you don't have to give a shit about how difficult it is. If you can kill the monsters, you can go like, if you can kill the monsters, you can just go ham, and if you die, it's no big deal. You lose a bit of gold, a bit of XP. Have to go get your body. Nothing big. Hardcore's different because if you die once, you die. That's pretty bad. Especially like this character at level 96, I would cry probably. Well, not cry, but I would be sad. Rip. So Gavin says, I went ham on Path of Diablo hardcore, like 2,000 to 3,000 hours. Is that a mod, or is that you're talking about Path of Exile or something? So we're talking about Burial Grounds, Terror Zone. It's got 3. Burial Grounds has 3 maps. It's this main one with Burial Grounds. What the fuck? This is hardcore? Yeah, dude, this is hardcore. Does it say somewhere on here? I can show you when I save and exit out. Mod, yes. Yeah, and that was something that once I start hitting the max for what I like about this, I might look into the mod scene. But so Burial Grounds is this small map. It has mostly, I'm playing offline. I don't think I would trust other people to play online, and I could disconnect and die when I'm not looking. Cool, what is a Terror Zone? I'm playing Ladder, Softcore, Nightmare, level 29 Sorcerer at the moment. A Terror Zone is once you beat the game on any difficulty, it lets you... So normally the areas are locked to their level, like Act 1 is crap. It's like level 1 to 3 or something like that. Terrorized, it randomly every hour will terrorize a zone. If it picks that first level, it will bring the monsters up to your character level, so it's worth going back to. And it kind of gives us some variety. So Burial Grounds, only thing here, there are no super uniques, or there are no elites that spawn in Burial Grounds, except Blood Raven, who is a super unique, and she is annoying as hell to kill because she spawns in enemies. You have to run around all the zombies. If you're not very strong, it can be impossible to reach her in this big mob. She does have some cool drops. I think these boots, the Sandstorm Treks, drop a slightly increased chance for her, and I did get these boots from her a long time ago. But she can be really annoying for certain builds. So a plus is that skeletons, zombies are the only thing that spawn in here besides Bloodraven herself. So that's a plus. However, it can be hard to tell which ones she spawned in. And the ones that she generates, you can't get XP from. So, I typically just... Move speed is huge. Yeah. I typically just, if I run this Terror Zone, I don't even bother dealing with her unless I specifically am looking for maybe, you know, Sandstorm Treks or something like that. Or if I just am feeling kind of loosey-goosey, like chill, I'll go and kill her too. I don't have a huge problem with this build. Dean Morey found a Jaw rune. That's awesome on Players 3 online here. Was that your best rune drop? Because I don't even think I've got that. I think my highest that I ever got was a Sir. So that's pretty awesome. What did you use that Jaw rune for? Shadowknight's going to be here lurking. Hey, thanks a lot, Shadowknight. I'm talking about the terrorized zones for hardcore. I know you started your Barbarian. Yeah, Jaw was the highest one you got. So you might learn something. We could make a hardcore player out of you yet, Shadow. Dole is my highest at the moment. I'm solo self-found. Yeah, I like the Dole. So, now we're in the crypt. The crypt and the mausoleum are basically the same. They're not bad, honestly. The only monsters that will spawn in these is skeletons and zombies. Very, very weak. Skeletons can get kind of scary in packs, and you also can't heal off of them, so that's something to consider. Traded right away for an Enigma. Oh, man, Dean Morey got an Enigma. That's awesome. I have never got one myself. Like I said, the highest that I got was a Sir. And the best thing that I've ever gotten is probably one of these two things, a Grief or a Chain of Honor, which is a low rune is the highest, and then this one is a I think. No, Burr. It's the Burr rune. So, real quick, a side note, even if I did get an Enigma, I probably wouldn't use it on hardcore. I did find a teleport staff that I used for a while with a summon necro, and then I teleported into a pack of ghosts with like curse and might aura and just blew up immediately. And so I wrote that down as to never use teleport. There's just too much chance of you getting ripped to shreds. Name of the game is minimize everything that could kill you. And the farther you get, the less likely you're going to get cherry tapped or like death from 1,000 cuts, because you're going to be having full rejuve potions and things like that. Usually what happens is you get surprised by elite mobs that have curse and might aura and spectral hit or extra strength. Something that combines together in a really freaky way that just explodes you in seconds. Dean says, offline softcore, I've found 2x Sir, 1 low, 1 ohm. I'm trying hard to get that offline infinity. That would be really nice. Gavin, okay, so bring me up to speed. Is meta different? Last time I played Diablo, summoner builds were trash. Okay, yeah. This was like in 2006 and 7, no expansion. So yeah, I don't want to talk like I'm an expert on everything, but as far as summoner builds, they are way better for a couple reasons. They changed both the necro and the way druids work as far as their summons. I think in 2006 and 7, I know specifically the druid you can't, like in 2006 and 7, you couldn't summon, you could only summon one of these. Maybe these, you could summon ravens, but I know you could only summon one, either the grizzly, the dire wolf, or the spirit wolves. You couldn't summon all of them at once. No clue about the creepers. I don't use them. And I think that the oak sages were on a different set for that. But hard cap on summons allowed back then, yeah. I've read some about it, but yeah, with the druid, I'm really kind of pretty versed in it. With Diablo 2 Resurrected, you can summon them all at once. So I don't use the wolves because they die pretty fast. But you can summon them all at once. You can summon 5 ravens. It actually works pretty well up until you get to hell later. That's where I was having trouble, is you just kind of cap out like physical immunes. Unless you get like super high tier gear, I was struggling to clear like players 1 terror zones. But it was doable. Not very engaging, but that's probably my favorite build, is just to have the princess. That character was called Disney Princess because of all my animal friends. The Necromancer, about the same. I think that they changed some stuff about him. Not sure about what you could summon, if there were limits. But he does work fairly well, especially with, like, if you go like part summon, part bone spear, or maybe curses. And he works somewhat better. Along with curses and like bone spear, like if you get amplified damage, he works really good. My pet peeve with it is that if you're up against the boss and he kills all your skeletons, you have to leave and come back. Druid, you can just summon them all. The other thing about the summon druid I know is that all of his so you have synergies. So if I put points into Direwolf and Grizzly, the Spirit Wolves will get bonuses, right? The other thing is the way that the points work is other skills, soft points don't provide synergies. So if I was... This is a base 1. I'm getting 7 soft points from gear. In other classes, this wouldn't provide synergies to Ravens because it's not a hard point. It's not one I put in. It wouldn't provide any synergies to the other, but the Summoner Druid does. Can you level with Summon? Oh, hell yeah. Max your Ravens. Max Ravens, and that gets you through like midway through Nightmare. I usually start Ravens, and then when I get to Wolves, I'll put enough points into each tier of Wolves to get the number up. So, I think it's 5 points into Spirit Wolf, 3 into Dire, and then get your Grizzly. But every other level up, just put a max into Ravens, because they just do so much damage early. Or if you're feeling, if you're okay with respecking later, Poison Creeper can kill almost anything if you start maxing that. But yeah, you can definitely level. I'd say depending on which you go, Poison Creeper you have to respec before you finish normal. Ravens, I'm pretty sure will get you through normal and summon Nightmare. And then you can respec into like Grizzly Bear. Yeah, Creeper early, from what I've seen, is strong enough that even speedrunners will do that, because for one, you don't have to focus. You just run in, it kills everything. Oh Christ. So what were we talking about? So the crypt. One thing about the crypt I haven't mentioned yet is that there is a super unique somewhere in there. I wasn't paying attention to see it. It's a unique skeleton called Bonebreaker. Again, super unique. Once you figure out where it's at, it will always spawn. I have seen some of it. I haven't watched the whole thing. I usually watch like the first little bit and maybe the last, just to see. And I actually was thinking about trying to get into speedrunning myself at some point. Maybe do a stream where I do like first ever. I haven't really looked up the tips and tricks besides picking them up through osmosis through watching these types of streams. But yeah, I've seen some Kano. I've seen Mr. Llama SC. Yeah, the creeper build's fun. Like I said, it does fall off, but real early, it just annihilates everything. And in general, depending on how fast you go, like I play hardcore and I take it really slow through the axe, over level quite a bit. It's not unusual for me to get to like 50, 60 in normal, and then 80s in nightmare difficulty. And it just blows through everything. The category of fixed stash seems cool. Like you have shared stash for speedrun. So nice. Respec now is huge. And the stash space. So, as I was saying, one thing that just now came to me is, depending on where your cold plains spawn is, like mine is kind of trash, so I have to run all the way over here, or teleport if you're feeling frisky, to get to burial grounds and cold plain, or burial grounds, crypt, mausoleum. Both mausoleum and crypt have 4 to 5 elites, so it's not bad, but the map is kind of huge, so not great. We're gonna go run through mausoleum once and then move on. I don't have too much else to say. For the record, if you clear Bloodraven, go through both maps, you can get maybe 8 to 10 elites. But they're really big, and Bloodraven is annoying. Oh, look at that. I got a good spawn on the chest. Right next to the door. So we're just gonna take a look-ski, see if, I get super, super lucky with a drop or something, but I don't expect much in Mausoleum and the Crypt at all. Have I got any crazy drops from here before? I don't believe so. Maybe some cool runes, but I might be mixing it up with one of the other maps that look like this, like Cathedral or Catacombs or Jail, or... Actually, I don't think Jail looks like this. Can't remember. But if you're just joining me, we're talking terrorized zones specifically for hardcore. We are on the burial ground / crypt / mausoleum. We went over some of the features of said place. Overall, not my favorite. It's not too dangerous, so if you need easy zones, you can just run in and get the crypt or the mausoleum. It's just skeletons and zombies. Kind of easy. Kind of safe. Until you get some more gear, some more levels, more skill points, things like that. But let's see, the tower looks like that. Yep, all out style. It does look like that. Yeah, and in my memory, I may be mixing up some loot drops, but I haven't really got too much, and I even think it was somewhere else that had ghosts. Oh, look at that, a Lum Rune. That's a nice drop. Not bad. But I think I'm done here. As you can see, the map is kind of giant and sprawling and meandering and not great. We have a poll up about what you think it would be rated. Kind of C to S tier. And I think the chat has gotten it right. We're going to go back here. We both farming the same thing. I'm just a nightmare. You looking at burial grounds. We have... why can I not see that? Let's see. Look at the poll. Map always same offline. Sort of. In offline, when you save and exit, it stays the same. You can change it after normal by going to a different difficulty. Go into that difficulty, it respawns a different map, and then you can go back to your difficulty you want. It's a little obtuse, but compared to online, it's useful. So, yeah, my grade for Burial Grounds, Crypt, and Mausoleum is a C. It's not great. Dean Moore says, I'm playing right now also solo, all offline softcore, players 8 druid, but I'm doing rabies. Rabies is not great leveling, or at least it's not... Like, are you going through Creeper Vine first, and then into rabies? Because there's some synergy there. So our poll for this was 40% said A and 40% said C, and I kind of agree. I personally say C, but I will go to it, so I might bring it up to a B, honestly. Next, we got the Stony Field. What? How good is Stony Field? Terrorized in D2R. Do we have any thoughts coming into it? What are our thoughts on Stony Field? Is it good or is it bad? What do you think my opinion is? We have a poll up for that. And if you have any comments, go ahead and put them in the chat. It says, Dean, all points into creep and then rabies. Yeah. Yeah, and I think that'll get you... I think you can take Diablo down with that normal. I'm pretty sure. All-out style. The Crypt and Mausoleum, crap mobility, and low density almost never farm that area. That is a really good point. However, it's just skeletons and it's just zombies. So they can't surprise you unless you're just running blind around corners. Yeah. Yeah, it's alright. It's out of the place. It's way big, so it can vary. Stony Field, though. Moving on to Stony Field. Which, in my opinion, is wonderful. And I'll tell you why. So, I actually do have a really good spawn here. So we got a shrine here. That's a crappy one. There's a minion group. It's not very big. I mean, it's about the same size as Cold Plains. I go Stony and A. I agree with that. It is sort of compact, but my whole thing, not very difficult mobs. So what can spawn in this map is skeletons, zombies we dealt with before, easy peasy, bloodhawks and the nests, which I have never known a bloodhawk to do damage to me. They don't seem like they do too much damage compared to what you're at. Goatmen, which are nice mobs, they're melee and they do some damage. They're in groups. They can be iffy, depending on what affixes you get. But the big thing is you get Rakinishu here. He's a guaranteed super unique. He always spawns here. A foul rune. Look at that. Nice. So he always spawns here. You can plan your run around him. You can get, looks like 7 to 9 elites, champions, uniques, whatever you want to call them. Stony Field, in my opinion, seems to spawn the most shrines consistently. I tried to look up what determines the shrine count and how it spawns prior to this, but I couldn't find anything. Let me know if you do find something like that, so I can reference it. Like, you can look up Diablo.io and find the number of elite spawns that will spawn in a certain area in different difficulties, but it doesn't say anything about shrines. But from my personal experience, Stonyfield is lousy with shrines. What weapon am I using? I have a Grief. I have a Grief Phase Blade. Here's my previous hardcore character, level 96 Disney Princess Druid. And then we're working on Warwick, the Fury Druid. I have a Grief Phase Blade that actually was a really good rolls for that. It's got 39 increased attack speed, which I think it can go up to 40. Damage, I think, goes up to 400, so that's pretty good. Enemy poison resistance minus, I think, is 25. And then 15 life after each kill, so I got 14. So it's a really good roll. Very, very happy with that. Okay, All Out Style says, Rakanishu never drops anything. He can be very, very deadly if he spawns with some funky auras. And there are elite mobs nearby. He's killed quite a few hardcore characters. Yep. You're absolutely right on all accounts. And especially depending on your resistances, even just his lightning spawn hurts real bad. Although, I still like him, because he is a fallen. If you are aware, it's a good location. So, All Out Style, are you voting in favor of it's not good because of those things? Do you avoid Stonyfield? Because, again, he can drop some good stuff. It's not too bad. But I think his loot pool is so big that the chances of getting anything specific pretty low. I do want to reiterate, I'm not, as far as tiering, like ranking these, I'm trying to focus on XP. Give it a B. All Out Style gives it a B. Yeah. Yeah, I do want to reiterate what All Out Style said, is that he can be scary. If you can't, like, with this character, I can pretty much one-shot anything, even if you can't, as long as you can kill something, you can maintain distance with the carvers because they'll run away from you. But that is always something you should be aware of, is when multiple mobs spawn and then you get overlapping affixes like Curse, like Might Aura. A pack of carvers coming at you can get scary, but that's par for the course, I guess. So we got 7 to 9. You do have Rakanishu, so you can take a big wide loop around. This is a super good map for this. And this one specifically, I'm pretty sure I've ran the last couple days when it spawns. Because you can take a huge loop. I have 3 shrines on this map. I can get a experience shrine. Hopefully I don't get any cursed enemies. And just kill like a bunch of elites. Really awesome. But again, you can die. And that sucks. What else we got? What else did I have in my notes? I put... The only other thing I added was that Rakanishu is annoying to take out. Which kind of goes with what... All Out Style. What is the Merc using? I have a... Reaper's Toll. And I have Fortitude and Endariel's Visage. But, yeah, I didn't have anything else, really. As far as the enemies themselves, nothing too crazy. All of them are melee, except Corrupt Archers, which can spawn. And those can get scary as well, depending on the affixes. As long as you're aware and play very carefully until you figure out what the affixes are, make sure you don't have Might Auras, you don't have Curse, you can play around this zone really well. And so I actually give it an A. Myself. with the shrines, the number of enemies, the kind of medium size of it, super good. And I gave it an A as well. And as far as the viewers here, it looks like we're on the same page, I think. We got, let's end the poll. We got 4 votes, and it looks like we got half A and half B. So, very nice. Next. Darkwood. Underground Passage. B and C. There we go. Got some reactions. How good is the Darkwood Underground Passage? Do we have any first thoughts about that? It is a terra zone comprised of 3 different maps. I'll rush the chest on level 2 in the passage. Sounds good. Dean likes to rush the chest. He is talking about Underground Passage has 2 levels. On the 2nd level, there's always a chest that spawns, which can drop some good loot. Sounds good. Okay, let me take a look at the map here. I can't remember how it spawned. Darkwood can spawn with archers and visibility is low, so it can be tricky. Yeah, the trees can get tricky. That's a good point. Archers are always... Then we also have Quill Fiends. Anything ranged can nicely get out of hand. The way that everything spawns... Again, same that we were saying about Rakanishu... It's more prevalent with things that have lots of ranged options. You can get things that have auras that spawn that overlap with things that have might auras that overlap with a pack that has extra strength. So you can be taking 3, 4, 5 times damage and take 1 arrow to the face and die. So it can get scary. As far as that, you have Spike Fiends, which are just the quill rats. You can't see... I mean, they're tiny. Arrows are really hard to see anyway. You have skeletal archers, you have quill fiends, you have corrupt archers, and besides that, you get some fallen and some spear women, which, in all honesty, those are not the threats here. It's all the ranged options. So, I don't like to fight Tree Fist or whatever his name. I actually do, because he's a super unique. You can depend on him. When you're in Darkwood, it's the first map. You get a super unique that always spawns near the tree of Inifis. And you can basically rush that and kill him. Oh, look at that. Yeah, XP Shrine. Woo. Not that it matters. This isn't terrorized. So, I had this ranked a certain way, and just discussing it with you guys about all the archers makes me want to bring the ranking down a bit, because all those ranged options can really get scary. Skeletal archers, look at this. Cursed. I'm getting pincered from 2 different directions by archers. That could turn south pretty fast. And this guy's stone skin. What a jerk. So yeah, that really sucks. Gavin says, I played this game right after getting to Last Epoch and Path of Exile 2 in-game. It holds up so well, stoked to try these zones. Yeah, something about... I've played Diablo 3, I've played Diablo 4, I've played Path of Exile 1 and 2. I haven't played Last Epoch, and I've been meaning to. But Diablo 2... even without having nostalgia... Oh, shoot. They killed all my stuff. Even without playing this game and nostalgia being a factor, it's still just... Oh my gosh, I played way too much of this game. There's Treehead Woodfest. He always spawns near this tree. I like to spawn into the zone, hit the shrines. So with this map, I probably would come in here, check this shrine here. It's exploding. Check this. It was an experience. And then make a sharp curve to Treehead Woodfest, and then maybe zone out. Depending on where the entrance to Underground Passage, which, oh my gosh, that's such a good spawn. So I would hit that. I would go into Underground Passage. There are 2 levels to this. A negative for this is that Underground Passage can get really long and meandering and confusing, and it's dark. It does have a couple different spawns. So you got your Tainted, your Fallen. Tainted can have a ranged option, but they don't use it a ton. But it is there. Then we have Corrupt Rogue and Skeletal Archers. Again, scary. Anything with ranged gets scary. So you are going to run into that same issue with a bunch of affixes Venn diagramming over each other and messing you up pretty bad. You can get another 6 to 8 elite spawns. Oh yes, Omn is huge. Oh yeah. You can make an Ancient's Pledge with Omn, right? Tier Tal Omn, I think. That would be wonderful if I remember that off of memory. I'm not very good at that. So 6 to 8 elite spawns in Underground Passage level 1. Then it goes into Underground Passage level 2, which has another 3 to 5. So that's all total if you get super lucky in Darkwood. You can get, let's see, Darkwood, go to Underground Passage 1, Underground Passage 2, and then you'll find about 16 to 18, or 16 to 22 elite mobs. That's not counting Treehead Woodfest. And there are no super uniques in Underground Passage. Eisenhart's Lightbrand, I have that. So, as far as number, it's not bad. It's not too big. With the Treehead Woodfest super unique, with the shrines, then you go to Underground Passage, and you find the entrance to the second level, go to that. Underground Passage level 2 is very small, so it's compact. You get 3 to 5. So you can find a lot of elites, a lot of chances for some considerable loot if it's terrorized. It is difficult, though. It's got a bit of danger to it. Shale Room, nice. Me personally, I typically don't go in the Underground Passage unless, like this map, it's like right there. Okay, I missed that one, Gavin. Last Epoch has the best crafting system, hands down. I haven't tried that. I do like Diablo 2's, and again, I think it is better than 3 and 4 by miles. What is Epoch? First off, where is that? Is that on PC only? Because that might be like something to try at a later date. I've heard a bunch of that. And then there's another ARPG that I've heard about that I've been wanting to try, but I can't remember it off the top of my head right now. D2 is number 2 overall. You mean of all the ARPGs? I meant, is it only... It's not on Xbox or PlayStation. You have to get it on PC and then play with a controller. It is on Xbox. Dean says it's on Xbox, or are you playing D2? crafting, y'all. Yep, might be something to try. I know if and when I'm able to... D2, overall, D2 is your number 1, but crafting is number 2 compared to the last epoch. Nice. I think Path of Exile and Path of Exile 2 has something to be said about how it handles leveling and progression with its like massive tree. But for its plus, it also can be overwhelming. Yeah, I played D2 on Xbox as well. When Path of Exile 2 finishes its beta or early access or whatever you want to call it, I do plan on playing that as well. I'm just kind of a achievement hoe, and the fact that there are no achievements on it makes it seem not as fancy free. Oh, whoops. I did not realize I had those. Is it in June? When it comes out of beta or early access? Man, that's a lot earlier than I anticipated. Yeah, I put not that many, but I put a good bit of time into Path of Exile 2. Hell rune. Is it a diamond? Yeah. It's got some time for sure. Come on, Skiller, no. I did want to look real quick. Yeah, last epoch is only for PC, I guess. If I look up PoE, is it gonna... No. Path of Exile 2. Does it say when it comes out? On here. No. Game is a work in progress. Doesn't say. But I'll take your word for it. I've been trying to... This has basically got its hooks in me into the point where I can finish it and get to 99, which is going to take quite a while. What was I doing? We were in Darkwood. And what... So we covered the elites that spawn the number. You can get a good chunk of them there. You got Treehead Woodfist. I've always thought that the pathing is really good for Darkwood. You can run to the shrines, you can run to the Tree of Benefice, then you maybe hit the underground passage if possible. But I don't usually hit the underground passage. It does have direct access. It's usually right in the middle. It's not a bad zone. I put S. I gave it an S because I liked it a lot for the... you just run straight to Treehead Woodfist. Go from there. But after talking with you guys, all the ranged mobs, Treehead Woodfist is actually kind of scary because he hits really hard. Basically, if he spawns with one of those affixes that I've mentioned a bunch, he can punch you straight into hell. And for a hardcore character, that's not the greatest. So I think in further reflection, I maybe give it an A. But yeah, my first impression, I gave it an S. So we run over here to Treehead Woodfist and obliterate him. And he's got... This one spawned with stone skin, so I'm not going to be able to take him down without... Yeah, hit that. Punch him. But, yep, maybe A, maybe B. Looks like the chat is mostly B. It's decided on B. Yeah, 75% with 4 votes, 3 out of 4. What players count? I'm on 8. Players 8. We are quite powerful. I have been working on this dude for quite some time. We have our call to arms in the offhand. Not a great one, but it works because it's got +3 and 4 to battle command and battle orders. We've got our spirit in the other hand for the +2 skills, along with some mana regeneration, I guess, or extra mana, I should say. Then on our main hand, we are running a Storm Shield off with a Grief. A really good Grief. And then I have Jalal's main. I have High Lord's Wrath. I have Chains of Honor. Yeah, 96 is badass and hardcore. I never make it that far. I believe in you. It is possible. You just have you ever seen Zombieland? You just have to have a set rules and always follow them. First one, always be a coward. Run away. Cardio is where you go. Okay? Got String of Ears. And then basically my rings and my boots and my gloves. Got Laying of Hands, which is okay for the increased attack speed. It's okay. I've got this, which is not the greatest, but the lifesteal and the resistances is good. I've got Ravenfrost for the Cannot Be Frozen, and I've got Sandstorm Treks, which are very good. But I want Gore Riders. I want Dracul's Grasp, Eth, and 13 durability. That would make me so aggravated. I was looking for Jalal's for this character for a long time, and I couldn't find one. And then I want to find a Stone of Jordan, and I want to find a Bulkathos Wedding Band. But for the most part, we're almost like maxed out as far as we can go with this guy. But I am going to now... been streaming for about 2 hours. For the next 15 or so, I may stay on longer. I'm going to actually run some regular Terror Zones. I probably will talk more about Act 1 next week on a stream. If you guys enjoyed it, make sure to like, maybe subscribe, leave comments and things. Sunder Charm, okay, so I do have one for Bone Break. It's not a bad one either, but I don't need it. Even with the stone skins, I can usually either just leave them or use the Decrepify from Reaper's Toll to weaken them enough to kill them. And the physical damage received, I don't like. I did use it for a while until I started to be strong enough and I got rid of it. I have some 2 skillers. I have one to summoning and one to shapeshifting. I have Geet's Fortune for the MF. Basically all my small charms are Magic Find. I think this one is 2. No, this is damage. I got some all res, magic find, damage, damage, damage. Honestly, I could be persuaded to get rid of this one and get something else. Damage. Yep. So we are going to go run this for the next couple minutes. Yeah, if you liked chatting about the terror zones and stuff, I would be happy to do that again. I'm going to try and use a Sunder on my Rabies Root with the Cure Helm on Mark, see if it helps. A Sunder Charm for poison, or I'm assuming poison. Yeah, to be honest, I like the Bone Break one the most just because it has the most penalty to it. But yeah, I stopped using it for my summon druid that, or well, it actually was a summon and then I respec'd into wind. I had that Bone Break forever, like it was almost necessary because the damage is not very good when you get super high and you need lots of gear and stuff. Yeah, but I am gonna talk more terror zones next week. Right now, I'm just gonna get the extra XP, trying to get to 99, so that's gonna take probably another month or 2. This is as far as I've ever gotten. It took me 2 weeks almost to get to 96. It took me a week to get to 95. Maybe less to get to 94, and then I wasn't counting before that. So going off of this, it might take me 3 weeks to get to 97, depending on how much I play. I do have a job and children and a significant other that I have to give attention to. So, yeah. I'll be on for maybe 15 to 30. I'm just going to chill. If you want to hang out, that's great. If not, I'll see you at the next one. But yeah, most of my streams are usually like this, where we're just chilling, getting XP, liked and subbed. I appreciate that so much, Dean. I am been putting a lot more effort into the streaming in YouTube this year. I got good internet finally. I used to have like 12 megabytes per second, which was not even enough to stream. I did upload videos every once in a while, but then I got a big upgrade and now I can stream all the time. And streaming Diablo 2 hardcore to get to 99, that's been helping a lot. With eyes upon me, it makes me very wary of what I'm doing, so I will go out on a limb and say that this is going to be the one. We will get to 99, and then I will make a video guide for that, and everyone else will get to 99 as well. Gavin, thank you for hanging out. You take it easy as well. Now, I have run this terror zone before, but I don't remember what my efficient path was. I don't think there's a super unique on this map. But for some reason I found myself running this way. Make it move! Chat says about my XP bar. For some reason I was running this way, it seems. The corruption begins to fade. do we save and exit? $41 to life. That's actually a really good life charm, but the max you can get life to spawn on a grand charm, I think, is 45. I think that's an Immortal King's hat. Yep. So if you're just now tuning in or you're still watching, we've reached the end of kind of what I was playing on stream for about 2 hours, talking about the Act 1 Terror Zones. We reached Darkwood, and kind of the general consensus is most of them are good. Burial Grounds is probably the worst. But I do want to, before I go to bed, I do want to get a little bit of XP, as I was basically just running the zones non-terrorized and got nothing. So I am going to be hanging out for a bit, just running some terror zones, getting XP, chatting like I normally do. I am not an expert, but I am knowledgeable about the game. If you have any questions or you have any stories to share, that's the main reason that I'm streaming, is to chat with other people that play, hear their opinions, add some good viewers, put out some good points about the terror zones we touched. If you'd like to weigh in, be sure to hit the next stream. For about the first 2 hours, I will be talking about the terror zones that I have on the docket. And then I'll probably just chill, wind down. If this was like exercise, this would be when we're doing our stretches. But yeah, we are running our viewer Jude. He's level 96. We are trying to get to 99 as our main goal. If I can do that, that would be amazing. We've peaked. That may be the most impressive thing that we've ever done. Sadly. Now, if we get to 99, I do plan on doing a video guide like some of the other ones for the different games I have on my channel. With different tips. I have no idea how I'm going to comprise all that info, but I have been brainstorming it as I get closer and closer. If you're not aware, getting to 99, it takes so incredibly long. Sorry about that. I thought I heard something. So incredibly long. So we are at 2.746 billion XP. I think it's like level 92 is 2/3 of the way. So just going by XP numbers, it should take me forever to get to 99. Travancore, nice. That's actually a good one. Going to run some Travancore. That actually has a possibility of some good loot. I mentioned earlier, we're really loot. We are not. We are hitting a peak here for what we can get, but we still have some options. I would love to get Dracul's Grasp, pair of gloves, and a set of Gore Riders, which I think they can drop from these mobs. If you're watching and you are interested in Diablo 2, you'd like to make a suggestion for topics of discussion, I play almost exclusively on hardcore. I don't like where we're at right now, but I think we're alright. And that was something that I saw that wasn't discussed too much, is what terror zones are good for hardcore characters specifically. You freaking Hierophants. So I figured talking about that would be fun. Going through each of them in turn. Oh. But if you have a suggestion for something you'd like to hear, you can always comment on this or hit my stream. The next time I stream Tuesdays and Saturdays. I also put some videos out in the meantime. Trying to break into Diablo 2, but I was trying to reach a higher quality, which takes a lot of editing time. So they're happening. Like I said, I do have a life as well, and I can't make this my full-time job. Not that I don't know if I would want to, because editing a 15-minute video. If anybody's ever seen Parks and Rec, that episode where Ben makes the claymation and he spends like 2 weeks on 8 seconds, it's very relatable. I finished a challenge run that I was doing, at least for normal, in March, and still not finished with it. Very frustrating. Nothing. I don't like being in here. Don't know if I was in danger or not, but I think I'm gonna back out and go the other way. Don't run in. That's another tip. Don't run in hardcore. As powerful as I am, a lucky shot or 2 or 3 with curse on and some auras on top of that could make my butthole not feel good. So we're just gonna take it slow. Back it out. Back it out. There we go. Okay, we got a angelic sickle, I think that is. Yeah, I have a bunch of those. Okay, now we're cursed. So that is not wonderful. Hey, if you're just now joining me, thanks for checking out the stream. Playing some Diablo 2, we were talking terror zones. Our Merc is dead. We were talking terror zones, but I do want to also invest some time into getting XP in actual terror zones. When possible, I will be doing the terror zones that I'm talking about, but they're randomized, so we were just running around in the zone. If you want to hang out, chat, feel free. But you'll have to. Oh! Look at me! I did a smart move. I took the TP instead of the waypoint. Now I live in your house. Oh, he's got stone skin. I'm not even gonna bother. Thank you for the reactions. But I think we'll do one more and then call it a night. If we get a really cool unique or set piece, we'll do another one. But if I get nothing from the Travancore Council, we done. Ugh, gosh, that curse scares the vinegar out of me. A Thule rune. Alright, council member number 5 and number 6. Give me something good. Nothing. Okay. Well, let's go back. Put our loot. Alright, and then we... Immortal King, Sazabi's, okay. We're gonna organize our loot into our different... Immortal King. So, we've reached pretty much the end of the stream. If you made it this far, you get a little treat, and then you get to see all the crap that I've picked up. 37% extra gold, this one's better, so we'll toss that. I have 1 billion characters. I'm trying to make one for every different set and beat the game with that. The ones that I've named specifically, I have. No, not that one. And then I have like mule characters for different letters of the alphabet until I find them. We're getting close. Zombies, yeah, I have that one already. 100 defense, 16, 19. Yeah, probably that one's better. And then we have Siverb's Cudgel, which I think I have a Siverb set. Yeah, I do. Yep. We are just collecting the gear because I'm thinking to do a 2375 a run where I try to beat each set on hardcore. Saurus's. That's something that I might try. Iron Stay, Iron Heel, where? Okay. Then we got, okay. Okay. This is going in the middle. It's gold. Okay. All right. And then we'll just give a quick look to my general unique gear boy with all of his splendor. I've got all this. I've got another storm shield, a bunch of nagel rings, frostburn, a tomb reaver, But if you're still here and watch the stream, I appreciate you taking the time to support the channel. Please like the stream if you enjoyed it. It helps the algorithm direct more people towards me. We do have some more Diablo 2 content to come, more streams, gods, hopefully, and just hanging out, talking with other people about Diablo 2. That's the point. But that's the end.